The Crescent Knife is a pretty amazing stone tool. There is a little controversy around it, and I don't know how much controversy, but a lot of folks think that crescent knives are also projectiles, specifically hunting for waterfowl. In those cases where they can draw those conclusions, typically the crescent blade, that knife, that shape, is found next to the edges of water. So do I necessarily believe crescent blades were arrow points for waterfowl? No, I don't. Could it have happened? Yes, but I think we'd find much smaller crescent blades. But I think it falls more into that butchering side of game, as well as there's many out there that do believe that it could be hafted and shot at, you know, long-necked birds, turkey, crane, geese, things to that extent, as well as other types of waterfowl. Just because they do find them on some of the edges of lakes and streams and different waterways. But if you've ever butchered any game with stone tools, you clean your game, you go to the water's edge, you clean off your tools, maybe you drop one, it stays there until somebody else finds it thousands of years later, or you pack them all up, go about your business. I've had a lot of success with it on large bison, plenty of hogs, and some elk, and I can tell you from a crescent blade standpoint, definitely provides some advantages, especially when you are working with the crescent blade, kind of that hook portion, or that portion, if I use my tattoo here, kind of these pointy ends. You can really get into places and kind of hook and pull and get the cut you're looking for. The rounded side also offers the ability to kind of not use a sharp tip, and you can really kind of saw through tendons and tough portions of meat. So the crescent blade really exists between 11,000 to 9,000 years before present. These sort of knives are typically found in the Black Rock Desert of northwestern Nevada and into Oregon, as well as into California. Other crescent blades have been found in Utah, kind of in that western portion of the United States, Colorado, Utah, Nevada, up in Wyoming, Idaho. That is pretty much the largest population. I'm sure there's some on the East Coast, but the majority of those crescent blades are kind of found on that western side of the United States. Now, even though they've been found with Clovis points, they're pretty much associated with the Great Basin stem cluster. There is an intermixing between the two, but it was a very popular butchering tool. It was very effective, and they're pretty easy to produce. The lunate style, which is very similar to like a crescent moon, and then we have the wing style, which kind of has two little humps on the backside. Still gives it that crescent shape. It's two variations of that crescent blade that we come across. Let's nap a crescent blade. All right. One of the things that I do when it comes to making crescent blades is I like to use some of my old broken pieces. So if I'm working a type of stone or a piece of stone, and I'm looking to build like an axe out of it or something large, and I get some end shock, I get a break, I get some sort of irregular consistency in the stone which causes that break, I save these pieces and then I kind of work them into crescent blades or various tools, because they're, you know, already thinned out pretty much. Just need to do some refining sort of, you know, strikes to it and some pressure flaking, and I can get the result I'm looking for. For this, I'm going to use a piece of Georgetown, and I should be able to get a pretty decent sized crescent blade out of this guy right here. All right, stone and bone, here we go. Any single flake, you know, could be quickly turned into some sort of crescent blade, but you really wouldn't need to, because you still have all these super sharp edges on there. So any good flakes I'll set off the side, use for something else. kind of see already just how this is shaping up. Kind of have the rounded back portion of my crescent, probably a point over here, a point over here, and then all this in between will kind of be taken out. Ouch. Kind of thinning this down a little bit right through here, so I'm going to flip it and kind of target this kind of inside region. big flake. Just gonna pop, pop. Nice long flake. Get off there. Okay, maybe later. That's a good one. Another good one. All right, if we stop right here for a hot second, this is kind of an earlier form crescent blade. You can see it has that kind of general crescent shape to it. It's rounded on the top, a little bit of a concave right here in the middle. It doesn't look like, you know, what you see on my hand tattoo, but it is definitely something that is found, that is considered a crescent blade. Lots of pressure flaking right now. Let's do this. So my taper there. Oh, I think it's the easiest way to make a crescent blade. I just kind of keep working on taking chunks off from these tips all the way to that midpoint, and then I'll work my back edge, and then I should have a good little crescent blade. Along. That will be the inside of my crescent. I'm going to give it a little bit of a point on these ends. I'm not looking, as you can kind of see, it starts to get that little bit of a point there. I'm not looking to take anything off of this back or midsection. But finally, this is kind of my midpoint. From here, I'm going to kind of taper down to that point and then match it over here. So I've got this one side right here, come to that point. At the very end, I'll touch up these points. This is my midsection, kind of right where that little bit of mass was. Now I'm going to do the same thing on this side over here and really finish it out. Let's do some fine stuff. I think that will work. This will definitely work. It is crescent, it's more defined than that one that I showed you a little bit earlier when I was napping in the process, but this right here is a crescent blade or a crescent knife. It's great. You got multiple ways to hold on to it. You can hold on to it with the curve out like this. You can hold on to it with the two tips of that crescent pointed out. You can use that point right here to really get in, remove that hide from an animal. You kind of got a rounded saw, almost like an ulu, even a simple cutting blade. Actually, you have a hook. You know, when you're in there, you could even slide this up underneath the hide and rip and pull and rip and pull. It's kind of a multi-use game processing tool. This crescent blade I'll be using in my upcoming bison butchering class, and for those who are going to be attending, we'll be making some of these as well. This is ideal, I'm not going to lie. Having used this exact sort of blade before in butchering of hogs and elk and bison, it's a great tool to use. Yeah, it's an old tool. How do I think we got it? I have a strong belief that we as an ancient people used to really mimic what nature provided, whether it was the signs from, you know, the heavens as far as the moon and its crescent shape, or the tooth of some sort of predatory animal, or the claw of some sort of predatory animal. We can see that those are cutting tools. Either way, ancient peoples 11,000 years ago saw the crescent blade as a very advantageous tool, made it on a large scale. It's found all throughout kind of the western half of the United States, and I have no doubt that it got the job done. All right, one crescent blade. Thanks for watching.